Hong Kong, one of the most densely populated cities on Earth, known worldwide as a financial centre and for its shopping, pollution and fast pace of life. But in the green heart of Hong Kong, there is a magical place of beauty and tranquility. Kaduri Farm and Botanic Garden. KFBG is engaged in several large-scale and long-term projects. One is to reforest the barren upper slopes of the nature reserve area with the native plants that used to grow here hundreds of years ago. Another, on the Chinese mainland, is to help protect wildlife and their habitats, including the forest that is home to the world's most endangered primate, the Hainan gibbon. It's all part of KFBG's strategy to conserve wildlife and wild places, for them to be cherished and enjoyed by present and future generations. Preserving existing forests is one thing, but replanting a forest that has been cut down is quite another. Yet Kaduri Farm and Botanic Garden has embarked upon this groundbreaking botanical adventure.
We have several tree planting activities over the year where all members of staff who are fit enough to come up here will help to plant the forest. The effort to establish the project up here is huge. So around 300-400 years ago, tea was grown up here and all the forest was cleared for the tea plantations. So since then, the whole mountain was barren and only in some parts slowly forest could recover, but not in a high diversity as the original forest. So that's why we have this project here to plant a variation of native tree species.
I think it's an amazing project to restore forests in an area of South China where forests were just really destroyed thousands of years ago. And so for me personally, living here as a child in the 60s, this was grassland. There were no trees. There was nothing like this to sit in. And to put back a forest and all of the other life that goes with that is just an extraordinary ambition. And they're doing it brilliantly.
We have done a number of different trial experiments. So we try to cover the soil with weeding mats. We try to give the trees fertilizers. We try to protect the trees with tubes in order to improve the microclimate around the trees.
I think in their experimental approach to it really is world leading. Many gardeners are just beginning to get into trying how to replant things, but not with the systematic experimental design of the study plots that have been set up, the different treatments.
By late summer, these grasses would be over a metre high and will outcompete the saplings, so each plot must be cleared. 20 saplings of 20 different native species are planted in each plot to create a forest similar to the one that was here before. The trees will take decades to mature, so the people digging the ground may never see the forest in its prime. It has been a team effort to reach this stage. The seed collectors, nursery specialists, and now the planters all share the same goal: to restore the forest. Each sapling has its own tree guard to deter inquisitive animals and to maintain its own microclimate, protecting it from cold winters, hot summers, and the winds that whip across these slopes. This restored forest will replace a long-lost habitat, replenishing the soil and providing food and a home for the wild animals that will colonize the improved habitat. More than 500 kilometers away is the tropical island of Hainan, where remnants of ancient rainforest still remain. And the Kaduri Conservation China team works here with the Bawanling National Nature Reserve. Dr. Bosco Chan is leading an expedition in search of the Hainan gibbon, the world's rarest and most critically endangered primate. Almost all of the primary lowland forest, which the gibbons prefer, has been cleared for timber and then planted with crops. Less than 5% of forest remains, and this is where the gibbons are hanging on. In 2003, the first joint survey revealed that only 13 individuals survive. They're just one step away from extinction. Since 2003, KFBG has worked closely with the reserve management in a joint mission to bring the gibbons back from the brink. Reserve wardens are being trained to conduct population surveys, recording and mapping social groups. With such a rare animal, it's vital to know when and how populations are changing and how many gibbons remain. 50 ecologists and rangers will cover an area of 20 square kilometers. The more they know about them, the better they can understand and protect them. Bosco and his team are to spend the next 5 days camped out in the forest looking for signs of the gibbons. They make camp deep into gibbon territory, and tomorrow the search will begin. But for now, it's getting dark and it's supper time. And a chance to catch up with old friends. During the years the KFBG team and the Bawanling Rangers have worked together, they've built lasting bonds. So the campfire talk goes long into the night. By sunrise, the teams are already at their listening posts on designated mountain ridges. From these vantage points, they listen out for the gibbons' distinct songs and take directional readings. They can then triangulate with other teams in the forest and pinpoint the position of the group. Males and females have different songs. So it's also possible to work out the group structure without even seeing the gibbons.
我哋而家咧就喺海南霸王嶺國家級自然保護區，咁啊做緊呢個長臂猿嘅種群數量大調查。咁啊啱啱喺我哋而家做緊呢一刻咧，其實長臂猿仲喺嗰邊叫緊嘅。咁啊我哋嘉道理其實係可能你都仲聽到長臂猿喺度叫緊，呢個就係佢哋一個家庭群嘅合唱。咁啊每次聽到都令我哋好興奮。
Now the race is on to make visual contact and to confirm which family group and how many gibbons are present. They won't call for long. If they're not found by the time they stop, it's unlikely they will be seen at all today. Sounds are getting louder, so they're on the right trail. The gibbons are high in the canopy and blend in perfectly with their forest home. So obtaining a clear sighting is not easy. These forests once extended down into the lowlands, but during the 1960s, the human population increased rapidly, and the land was cleared to make way for growing crops. And habitat loss like this is a major barrier to conservation. The people here are not wealthy. They've relied upon their income from rubber. But the market price has fallen. So to compensate, the villagers have increased the size of their plantations, encroaching even further into gibbon country. It means there is direct conflict between the needs of local communities and the needs of the gibbons.
The government, yeah.
As a solution, KFBG's Hill Padilla proposed that farmers grow additional complementary understory crops, rather than clearing yet more forest. Cardamom and dumpling leaf are two native species that grow well under the shade of rubber trees. Although rubber trees are still cultivated, the new planting has improved the overall ecosystem, creating a healthier environment, and the villagers have increased their income. In fact, the price of cardamom has now surpassed that of rubber, so farmers are feeling more secure and no longer need to expand into the gibbons forest. The scheme has been so successful, they now supply seedlings to other farmers in the district. The message is spreading. Practical conservation is a good start. And Bosco also wants to win over hearts and minds by recruiting local people to look after the forest. These villagers have been trained and equipped by KFBG to monitor the gibbons and patrol the forest each day. They are local heroes. Now the goal is to get the whole community involved in protecting the gibbons and their home. It's a real opportunity to inspire the next generation. Bosco's team has also organised a Gibbon Fun Day at the local school. All the scientific work is for nothing if the local community is not engaged. Through these activities, local people make changes to attitude and lifestyles that will benefit both the gibbons and the forest.
然后都看都知
三张
什么了，
这三张是几块
出门了啊。
是不是你？
This is a good start. And perhaps one day more of these lowlands will be reforested with native trees, and the gibbons will thrive once more. Humans and gibbons living in harmony. In the forest, Bosco and his team at last get a clear sighting of a Hainan gibbon. The alpha male is pure black, and he sings both to bond with his family and to tell neighbouring gibbons this territory is occupied. Females are golden yellow, and they join the male to sing hauntingly beautiful duets. This particular male has a large family with 8 members, including a number of juveniles. Firm evidence that this group is breeding successfully. Data collected from the most recent survey indicates that there are now more than 26 gibbons in 4 separate social groups. It means the population has doubled since KFBG first started conservation work here in 2003. These are the only known individuals of this species on Earth.
好開心啦！今次我哋繼續係confirm 到4群長臂猿都仲喺度，咁而且就生活得好好。咁仲有一個可喜嘅現象係，我哋見到其中一群嘅其中一隻雌性嘅長臂猿咧，其實應該已經懷孕。咁好快咧，呢個世界上咧又會多一隻長臂猿，咁呢個係好可喜嘅現象嚟嘅。
Hong Kong may seem a million miles from the gibbons of Hainan. But it too has a few secrets left to be discovered. The Forest Restoration Programme relies on field expeditions to collect rare seeds from the wild under government licence, often in remote and inaccessible places. Back at KFBG, the nursery is at the heart of the restoration project. A repository of precious trees that would have once been common in the region.
The trees we are going to plant, some of them are really, really rare, where only 10, 15 trees are left in whole Hong Kong. So it's very difficult to find the seeds. But for several species, we've been very successful in our propagation, and we got enough stock in our nursery now to start replanting the forest up here.
The world of botanic gardens has woken up to the fact that nobody else really can grow all the different diversity of plant species that make up the natural vegetation in different countries around the world. So many of them are starting to do restoration projects. I think this is one of the leading examples. And they're putting back a kind of unique vegetation with a rich mixture of tree species in particular that are now unbelievably endangered in Hong Kong. So to even collect the seed of them is difficult. But after that, to grow them and germinate them in the nursery here and then get them onto the mountainside is highly specialised, really, research on how to rebuild a lost forest.
In 50 years' time, the forest will be really unrecognizable. Currently, the trees are rather small, maybe 3-4 meters, and the saplings just 30 centimeter tall. But in 50 to 100 years' time, the canopy will be 25 to 30 meter tall. And it would be unique in Hong Kong because there is no place elsewhere in Hong Kong where you can find such a highly diverse montane forest like the one we're trying to create here.
And with such a skilled and dedicated team behind the entire process, there is every chance that their goal will be achieved. The meticulous research, planning and implementation of this project will see a native forest restored to these slopes, a powerful message to governments, communities and people, showing what can be done. The seeds of all this were sown more than 60 years ago. The forest, gardens and farm stand testament to Horace Kadoory's original dream. Something he knew he would not see to its full glory. But an enterprise which Sir Horace's great-nephew, Andrew Macaulay, the current chairperson of KFBG, is taking forward.
All these surroundings are just so beautiful. And the most common response of visitors when they come here is that this couldn't possibly be Hong Kong. But, you know, it didn't always used to be like this. In the 1950s, when this site was first leased, the hillsides were mostly barren.
They started with a blank canvas, but they had a vision, a dream, to rebuild and nurture a green refuge for the plants, animals and people of Hong Kong. It was a colossal undertaking and work that has taken several lifetimes.
When Horace and the KAAA put in all the paths and the roads and so on, some people said to them, "This is really ugly, you're making a real mess here." But clearly they had a vision, because now that all the vegetation has grown up, we're left with a kind of wonderland. KFBG has always been a beacon of light, and it should continue to evolve as such in whatever ways are most appropriate in the future. Our greatest strength lies in the integrated approach that we take. Over the years, some people have suggested to me that we're spreading ourselves too thin and that we should narrow our focus. But our site lends itself to a wide array of activity. We are a farm as well as a botanic garden.
And a centre for the rescue and rehabilitation of injured animals. And breeding programmes for some of the world's most endangered creatures.
The influence of our nature conservation work is expanding as we extend our focus from Hong Kong to the local bioregion and to the Indo-Burmese biodiversity hotspot as a whole. And with our growing expertise, we can host more conferences and workshops for groups throughout the region. At the same time, through our education program, we're bringing in really inspiring global environmental educators to participate in residential workshops and retreats, in particular at our new facility, the Green Hub. And there people can come and live as part of a community for a few days, experience the operation of the community markets and other sustainability initiatives.
呢個係我哋60年以嚟第一次喺場外做嘅一個大型嘅項目，亦都有我哋嘅設施。咁呢度可以話係成個嘉道理農場嘅縮影。我哋有文化、歷史同埋環境，亦都有好多人為活動嘅元素。希望點樣可以將呢啲元素係融合得比較和諧。咁而喺呢一度咧，我哋每日都會有唔同嘅遊客上嚟，去學習生活上點樣應用佢哋嘅令到生活可以比較可持續啲啦。而此外咧，其實呢個係一個盒，我哋希望佢可以好似一個匯點咁樣，令到公眾人士可以上嚟建立一啲互助嘅網絡。
The Green Hub is a place to meet, eat and sample local produce. And there is even a Green Hub community currency to help strengthen the local economy. There are activities for young people who are taking their first steps to connect with nature. And the Green Hub continues to offer sanctuary to a colony of egrets, which nests on a wooded slope next door. It's one of the few remaining egretries in Hong Kong. This bird is the emblem of the Green Hub, emphasising KFBG's mission to harmonise our relationship with the environment. On the summit of Kwun Yam Shan at KFBG, Andrew brings a special gift, a native Buddhist pine.
It's a rare species. It's threatened by extinction in the wild in Hong Kong and South China. And we're planting it here at Kwun Yam Shan to keep Kwun Yam company very appropriately and perhaps provide a bit of shade for her in future. These trees can grow up to 1,000 years old, so we're looking ahead very far into the future here. And eventually it could have a diameter of about 1 meter. So I'm planting this for future generations, which is what the farm's all about.
Andrew Macaulay is a visionary, like his great-uncle, the farm's co-founder, Sir Horace Kadoorie. And like his predecessor, Andrew is forthright, yet gently persuasive. He believes that in our increasingly materialistic world of globalization, changing climate, and remoteness from nature, it's time to return to our roots. To recognize our oneness with nature. It all began over 60 years ago with a stream that never runs dry and a dream. Who knows what Kadoorie Farm will achieve in the future? Watching over is Kwun Yam. She hears the cries of the earth. Humanity is also listening and taking action.